Hey friends, welcome back to Faith on the Page. I'm back with another video under the Diamond Unrushed series where I talk about all things faith, life, and becoming. This week, I want to document something that has been getting louder and louder in my walk with God. Something that I'm really taking the time to consciously name and lean into. I'm going to walk us through a sequence of events that have occurred over the last 8 months, and I think you'll catch on pretty quickly to what the thing is and how it's been getting louder. Let's go back to July of 2025 when I went to Rome, Italy for my birthday. Funny enough, this was another occasion where a girlfriend asked me and I said, yes, of course. Yes, I want to go to Rome. And so as I was making our itinerary, I realized just how much rich Christian history the city had. While I was there, I had the pleasure and the privilege of visiting the Vatican, which was amazing. And I got to see the grottos that are underneath that hold the tomb of St. Peter. I got to go down there and I got to see his bones, which was crazy. I also got to visit St. John's Lateran, the oldest church in Rome, or the oldest public church in Rome, the place where the Pope actually sits, which I thought was the Vatican. I visited St. Paul's Basilica, where I got to see the actual chains that he wore while he was imprisoned, and I was literally standing where he was buried. The architecture, the details, the style of these churches was just wow. And of course, being in these spaces made me aware that these were very much Catholic churches. I'm not gonna lie, I had never really explored Catholicism. I knew that they also were Christians and that they loved Jesus, but I just didn't have much of an inclination to dig deep over there. So during this trip, I was inspired to learn a little bit more about Catholicism. And after I left, I had a newfound appreciation for that branch of Christianity. And I didn't realize it at the time, but that was the beginning of things starting to shift for me. So when I got back home, I had decided that I wanted to start the Bible over again from Genesis. I wanted to take my time with it. I wanted to really let it marinate, really dig into anything that popped up for me. As I was reading, especially when I was reading Exodus and like Deuteronomy and Leviticus, the early books of the Old Testament, I kept feeling like I was missing something. I was missing something like big. That's what I felt as I was reading, because the questions that were popping up, I was just like, why are they doing this? Why are they responding like this? What am I missing from their perspective, especially when you get to Kings and Chronicles? Like, I felt like without understanding more of their world, I was just missing part of the story. And I didn't use this word at the time, but what I was looking for was context. So in late September going into October, I bought a couple of books to pair along with my Bible reading just so that I could get more perspective. Mind you, I hadn't stopped being curious about Catholicism. I was still digging there too. And the digging that I was doing was changing how I viewed the Israelites and how I viewed Catholicism. So I kept reading, I kept asking questions, and I kept adding books. And in January, I stepped into another deeply historical church space. And if you saw my last reflection, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And at this point, I knew what had been building in the background for months. Being in that space made it click in a way that I could not name anymore. The thing that was getting louder and louder was context. The thought of having context was no longer just interesting or helpful, it is necessary. I realized that it's necessary because over the last 8 months, digging into the historical and cultural background of these different things has changed the way that I view other people, the way that I'm interpreting scripture, the things that I have assumed. I just feel like it's really been cleaning up my lenses. Like I can see better. And when you realize there's more to the story and you find out more of what the more is that you're missing from the story, it's exciting. It's like, wow, things make more sense. Like it's a really awesome feeling. I will also say, as exciting and awesome as it is, it also comes with tension. I think in our walks with God, we are going to be stretched. And that means old understanding may conflict with new information. When you learn something new, it doesn't just stay in your head, it changes the way you respond to things. And that can be conflicting, right? Because you may have held something in your understanding in this way for a long time, and now you have something new over here that may conflict with what you've been holding over here. And now you have to reconcile them. And there can be tension in that. I'm finding that there is challenge in that. I will say that. But I think that this is to be expected in our walk with God because thankfully we don't know everything all at once. If we did, I think that would be difficult. I think that's part of this walk, and I think that's part of being formed well. There's a verse in Proverbs, and I'm going to paraphrase, but it goes something like, "It is the glory of God to conceal a matter, and it is the glory of kings to seek it out." And I love this. I love that. So I love how the Lord nudges us, how he inspires us, how he gives us these little pushes to do a thing or to go somewhere or to look into something. And it's all for the purpose of relationship. So when I look back over the past 8 months, I clearly see the pattern. It started in Rome with curiosity and inspiration to dig a little deeper, and that followed me home or came with me home, where I was inspired to dig even more for context. And then again, in this new, to me, historical church, little by little, I've been drawn further and further into background, into history. So I'm thankful that the Lord has led me in this way and that it's been a gradual thing that I can now name and put my finger on. And I'm grateful to document here what's been getting louder in my walk. So now you know what's been highlighted for me. And I want to ask, is there something that the Lord has been highlighting for you? The last time I asked this kind of question, the response was amazing. Like the commentary, the testimonies, amazing. And I think we need that. I think we need to be encouraged, not just by my story or my reflections, but by yours too. So if there's something that the Lord is highlighting for you in this season that you can name, don't ignore it. Drop it in the comments and let us all be encouraged. If you made it this far in the video, I just want to say thank you, and I will see you in the next one.